Mark, good to see you again. What have you been able to pick out of last Saturday's game against York and build on in this week?
I thought it was a really good performance. I thought we were really organised and really committed. We didn't deserve to get beat, but it's just a moment in time when you're at the top of the league, you get that bit of luck, and the game's decided on a penalty. So if we play like that, we have a big chance to get results. So we're really pleased with the performance. Just needed to take our chances at the end, but we didn't do that. But now really pleased with it.
How impressed have you been with the more recent signings that you've made over the course of the past month or so, and their impact on the games?
Well, I spoke about this. They're all young lads that bring something different, so they're trying to make their way in the game. So for us to try and replace Jake Wan, Lauren Jarvis, Morgan Williams, Michael Smith, James Plant, Sean McGurk, to try and replace them players like for like is impossible at this stage of the season in terms of experience. So the only other route is to try and get younger players that are making their way in the game, desperate to get some game time. And they bring something different, but at the moment they're learning the game, so they will make mistakes, and sometimes they'll be better coming off the bench. Through circumstance, they more or less all had to play last week against Boston, and it was a tough environment for them to play in. Not a nice environment, and that knocks their confidence. And then Boston go to a team in the playoffs and score 3 there. So it's a tough environment. So we have to be careful with them. But until we get our more frontline players back, we have to give them all the support we can and trying to put them in the right position in the right times so that they can really help the team.
You mentioned those frontline players, be it Aaron Jarvis and Michael Smith, Jake Wan or Morgan Williams, the like. Are we close to seeing any of them ahead of Saturday?
It's day to day, really. Every time the physio rings me, I'm frightened to death to answer it because, it's somebody else is going to be out for 6 weeks. And this is just a moment in time. It happens at certain teams in certain seasons. You look at Tottenham, all of their top players are injured. And it really affects. And we just got to ride it out. And hopefully Warnell and Smith may be back in the next few days. Then we'll be looking at Jarvis and Williams probably within a couple of weeks. So hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel, and they're back as soon as possible.
Yeah. On to Solihull then, and I know they've got a couple of players that were so close to the Football League when they were in the playoff final last season. What do you make of them this season, and what can you expect for the game of the weekend? Yeah,
they've had lots of change. Obviously, change of the manager went to the EFL, to Barrow. He'd done a great job. They brought in Matty from Wealdstone. It's always tough when you go into a team that are used to a manager's way. You have to try and change and adapt to the way you want it. They've had a turnaround of players, had some injuries, so it's been tough. But they've had a little run, I think, 3 unbeaten. And listen, like I always say, there's never any easy games at this level, never. And we're expecting a really tough game, but I'm sure they would have watched us against York, and they'll be expecting a really tough encounter as well.
And on Saturday, it's non-league day. It's a big thing in terms of grassroots football and a marking calendar across the year. What does non-league football mean to you specifically?
I think it's the lifeblood of the game, isn't it? I think you look how many players, if you look at... So if I give my experience, Dan Byrne was a non-league player at Darlington when I was a manager, and I gave him his debut at 16. And I actually did an interview saying that he'd play for England one day. I didn't actually probably mean it at the time, but we were trying to raise his fee for when we sold him. But the game is littered with stories like that of how many players have gone into non-league to get some experience or have started in non-league. So it's vital that that is celebrated. It's just a shame that there's not there's not as much funding coming down the pyramid as probably there should be when you see how much money there is at the top end of the game with the Premier League and the wages. And I know once you're in there, turkeys are not going to vote for Christmas, are they? You know, they're not going to vote to drip down more money down the pyramid. But I think we have to look at it and say, you realise where a lot of talent does come through the non-league.
Thank you, Mark. See you Saturday.
Thank you.
Get the VIP treatment at Hewish Park. Enjoy a 2-course meal prepared by our own executive chef, a match day ticket, match programme, team sheet and allocated parking. You can even put your questions to manager Mark Cooper. Why not book online today?